From the new Wee Street Ice Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it's time for Oklahoma Sports Scene. This fabulous new Wee Street Ice Center, the region's premier entertainment and dining complex, 140,000 square feet, with 2 regulation NHL ice rinks, featuring one of the area's largest sports bars, Pucks. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. Let's take a look at our show lineup this week. Start with a recap of that 150th Kentucky Derby. In 150 years, have never seen a finish like the three-way photo in the Derby. NBC Sports Thorough racing analyst Randy Moss joins us again to recap the historic race. And Kenny McPeek became the first trainer since 1952 to win the Kentucky Oaks and the Derby double. He'll join us via video Zoom. The interview from his Barn 6 at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. How about those Cowgirls? Oklahoma State softball coach Kenny Gajewski talks about his Cowgirls Bedlam Series win over the Sooners in Norman. And you'll meet our Tulsa Oilers star running back, Jared Ware Jr. will join us. But first, let's begin with our Tulsa World Hot Topics. FC Tulsa played this past Saturday in Alabama against Birmingham Legion FC, battled to a 2-2 draw to bring home 1 point in the USO standings. Forward Philip Goodrum opened the scoring 20 minutes into the match. Tulsa held that 1-0 lead for a while. Then their second goal came early in the second half by forward Stefan Sojanovic for a 2-0 lead, before Birmingham scored 2 goals, and thanks to 8 minutes of stoppage time, they got the tying goal 4 minutes into the extra time off a corner kick. This week, FC Tulsa played in Pittsburgh earlier in the week, taking on the Riverhounds in the U.S. Open Cup tournament. Then they returned to One Oak Field this Saturday, May 11th, to host that same Pittsburgh club. Kickoff time set for 7:30 this Saturday at One Oak. Tulsa Drillers are in Midland, Texas this week for a 6-game series. They started the week 11-14 after losing 3 of 4 to Springfield here this past week with 2 rainouts. Drillers are back to One Oak Field next week, hosting Wichita. That series May 14th to the 19th. Tulsa Oilers indoor professional football team couldn't hold off the Jacksonville Sharks' fourth quarter comeback and lost 47-44 in the BOK Center last Saturday. That dropped the Tulsa record to 3-3. After falling behind 14-0 in the first quarter, Tulsa fought back to take an early fourth quarter lead. A touchdown run by Jared Ware Jr. Ware had also a touchdown catch in the game, in fact 2 of those touchdown receptions, and Jared will be our guest later in the show today. The Oilers now are off on a 3-game road trip, heading to Green Bay, San Antonio, and Boston for the rest of May. Their next indoor football game here in Tulsa will be Saturday, June the 1st, against the San Diego Strike Force, BOK, kickoff 7:05. And Oklahoma landed the biggest defensive prize in the recent college football transfer portal with the commitment from TCU defensive tackle Dominic Williams. OU outbid with the NIL funds. They outbid Texas, LSU, and Missouri, among others. Williams is 6'2", 320 pounds, just what the Sooners needed in the defensive line as they head down to the SEC this fall. Everyone in college athletics needs a plan, they said, to get control of this NIL situation, name, image, likeness. Well, the latest after meetings between the NCAA and the major conferences trying to settle on what to do with this against all the antitrust lawsuits they've been filed against the NCAA, talking about the NCAA paying some $3 billion in damages over the next 10 years. The schools could be on the hook for about $30 million over 10 years, with $20 million going to their athletes from the billions of revenue from the media rights. NCAA and college sports leaders are also seeking help from Congress. Next, NBC Sports' Randy Moss joins us again from Churchill Downs, wrapping up Derby number 150, one to remember.
Are you ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers? Saturday night, June 1st, 7:05 at the BOK Center is Military Night. Let's rally behind the team as they take on the San Diego Strike Force. The first 1,000 fans get a Tulsa Oilers t-shirt. That's right, a Tulsa Oilers t-shirt. Don't miss the action. Tickets are on sale now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
You've You've seen the billboards, you've heard the hype, and now it's time for the Wee Street Ice Center to open its doors and welcome you in. 140,000 square feet, 2 ice rinks, public skating, hockey, arcade, game simulators, and the largest sports bar and grill is sliding into Tulsa. It's the grand opening of the new Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale. Make your plans, get your skate on, or watch some sports today. The Wee Street Ice Center, now open and ready to serve you. Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale.
The 2024 Remington Park Spring Quarter Horse season continues at Remington Park. The top horses in quarter horse racing are featured on Champions Night at Remington Park. Saturday, June 1st, is also the final night of the spring season with 7 Grade 1 stakes events led by the $1 Million Heritage Place Futurity. Thursday through Sunday, first race at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m. Champions Night racing on June 1st will begin at 5 p.m. The best racing, simulcast racing, and jackpot casino action is all at Remington Park.
So what about that Kentucky Derby? 150th running, and they produced a historic finish. Nose to nose to nose, a three-way finish in the Derby. Great race. We have take a look at this win photo real quickly. Here it is, the official win photo. The long shot, 18-1. Mystik Dan is on the inside. Had his nose just in front of Sierra Leone, who was one of the race favorites. And number 2, the Japanese horse, Forever Young, on the outside, another nose behind. At Churchill Downs, with the NBC telecast crew, our analyst Randy Moss, longtime friend of ours, an old colleague from ESPN days. Talked to Randy about the show and about, did he have the winner, Mystik Dan?
That surprised me a little bit. I mean, he looked similar to that when he won at Oaklawn Park in his first start in the Southwest state. He looked unbelievable, finished like a wild horse in that race. Then he came back in the Arkansas Derby, didn't get the same kind of trip, and wasn't quite as impressive. But it was the Kentucky Derby won by Mystik Dan, Chris. It was all about the trip, right? If every horse in the race gets the same trip, the winner is going to be either Sierra Leone or the Japanese horse Forever Young. But Brian Hernandez, the backstory with that is pretty unbelievable. Look, he's a really good jockey. All the jockeys in the Kentucky Derby are quality riders, right? That's why they're in the Derby to begin with. I always tell people, when you're handicapping the Kentucky Derby, don't pay attention to the jockeys, pay attention to the horses, because chances are you're going to get an excellent ride. Well, for years in the Churchill Downs jockeys room, Brian Hernandez had his locker in the same corner with Calvin Burrell. And he was a witness to Calvin Burrell's daring rail runs, right? With Street Sense and with Super Saver and with Mind That Bird. And he and Kenny McPeek talked before the race. Mystik Dan had an inside post position. And Hernandez said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to give this a Calvin Burrell ride. What the heck? We've got nothing to lose. We're a long shot. We got an inside post. I'm going to see if I can do what Calvin Burrell did. In the tight hole that Hernandez squeezed through at the quarter pole inside of Track Phantom and Joel Rosario, there was basically no room at all there. In fact, he even bounced against the rail a little bit as he tried to squeeze through. That's exactly what Calvin Burrell would have done and has done in the Kentucky Derby. And when Mystik Dan spurted away like that and Hernandez had enough force to open up on the competition, it was that move that wound up winning the race for the horse.
Yeah, Calvin Bo Rail, we always called him, and had some great memories with him. Take us from gate to wire now on the race and how you analyzed it with NBC.
Well, I mean, the race developed pretty much the way we thought it would. The big favorite, Fierceness, didn't get away to the fastest start, but put himself in a good position. We figured he'd be about 3 wide going into the first turn, right up on the lead, and that's exactly where he was. The big question about Fierceness was, which Fierceness would we see? And would he be able to finish after a quick pace, being 3 wide and slightly off the pace, as well as he did in the Florida Derby? The answer to that turned out to be a pretty resounding no. Mystik Dan was in a great spot all the way around and slips through along the inside. As I said, that's the difference of the race. A lot has been made, though, Chris, and rightfully so, of what happened through the stretch between Sierra Leone and the Japanese horse Forever Young. As they went around the second turn, both horses were pretty wide. Forever Young was in front. Sierra Leone was following right behind him. When they turned for home, they were right next to each other. And Sierra Leone has a long-standing habit, he's done it in most of his races, of lugging in and moving in toward the rail as they go down the stretch, right? Not keeping a straight line, coming in on other horses. And he and Forever Young went side by side from the quarter pole to the wire, and Sierra Leone was all over Forever Young. Bumped him 2 or 3 times, crowded him all the way down to the inside. Once again at Churchill Downs, Chris, the stewards completely dropped the ball. It happened with maximum security when they didn't put up the inquiry sign. I don't know if the inquiry light is broken at Churchill Downs, if it doesn't work, but to not put the inquiry sign up for that is completely inexcusable. This was a disqualification that should have taken a minute or 2 minutes. The Japanese horse should have been put up to second, and Sierra Leone should have been put down to third. They finished that far apart after what happened the length of the stretch. The Japanese, it's part of their culture, and they were talking about this after the race. Foul claims are exceptionally rare in Japan, right? They're a very polite society, and they're not going to come to the United States and make a big deal and make a big fuss and have the jockey claim foul. As they said the next morning, in Japan, it's the stewards that make decisions like that. Well, again, it happens so many times at racetracks around the country in America, unfortunately. The stewards were asleep at the wheel in the Kentucky Derby. It makes no difference to the winner, right? Mystik Dan was going to win anyway. But, so that's the analysis of the race from start to finish. It doesn't mar the 150th Kentucky Derby. It had nothing to do with the winner, Mystik Dan. But the best horse in the race was either Sierra Leone, who had to be straightened constantly in the run to the stretch, or Forever Young, who got mugged from the quarter pole to the wire and lost by 2 noses. All credit to Mystik Dan, though. He got the trip and he deserves the win.
Got a beautiful day, Randy. A great crowd, 156,710. New betting record, $320.5 million. And that was just an incredible performance. And also got to credit you on a great job with the 3-year-olds in the Kentucky Derby Museum. Fun feature.
Hey, as I said on the air, Chris, that's my demographic. I used to say my demographic was old people, kids, and dogs. And now I'm not old, but I'm starting to get older. So I can't say the old people thing anymore. It's got to be just kids and dogs. I loved it. I had a great time.
Before I let you go, looking ahead to the Preakness now. I know Kenny McPeek, as we tape on Monday, they're not committed yet. The old thing, we'll see how he comes out of the race, all that stuff. But what are you expecting in the Preakness Stakes, and how many think come back from the Derby 20-horse field?
Well, there's a little more to the Mystik Dan thing than the normal Kentucky Derby winner, and let's see how he comes out of the race. Because as I'm sure McPeek told you, there have been a couple of situations in the horse's past where they ran him back on relatively short rest. Once was 2 weeks, and it didn't end well. This is what's going to happen pretty much on an annual basis now, until the time comes when they decide to put more time in between the Derby, Preakness, and Belmont, which will happen. It's just a matter of time. But Mystik Dan could very well be the only horse to come back from the Kentucky Derby to the Preakness. And if he doesn't come back, then it'll be an entirely new cast of characters with Bob Baffert as the star of the Preakness with Muth and Imagination.
Well, what are you doing in Norman, Oklahoma? I think I know that, but tell us about a very special day for the Moss family. Congratulations, and good to have you back in the state here.
Oh, that's really sweet of you to say, Chris. Yeah, I'm in a little side room here off Campus Corner in a little hallway, trying to avoid the traffic noise for you. My daughter, Hallie, graduates from the University of Oklahoma this weekend. So we'll be here for her. This will be my 3rd child to graduate from the University of Oklahoma. The other one graduated from the University of Arkansas. So we're all over God's country in this family, Chris.
Well, again, Randy, congratulations. Great job. You and the NBC crew and covering the Derby for us. Thank you for taking time. We'll hit you up probably in a couple weeks before the Preakness Stakes, but wish you all the best, Randy, and congratulations to Hallie for me.
Hey, anytime, my friend. Anytime you need me, I'm here for you. Take care, Chris.
And coming up next, the Derby winning trainer, Kenny McPeek, joins us on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
It's time. Time to get back to the basics. Time to meet up with family and friends. Time to play ball. It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories in our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
Indoor football is back, Tulsa, and season tickets are going quick. Don't miss Saturday night entertainment starting as low as $9 a month. The Tulsa Oilers indoor football team kicks off again in March, Saturday nights, 7 p.m. BOK Center. Season tickets are on sale now. Go to TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Get your season tickets now. Don't miss your chance to experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of professional indoor football. TulsaOilersFootball.com.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Well, thoroughbred trainer Kenny McPeek had himself quite a weekend. For the first time since back in the 1950s, the legendary Ben Jones, the trainer of the fabled Calumet Farms, was the trainer who won the Oaks on Friday, the Phillies race, then the Derby the next day on Saturday. Let's start with the Friday race for Kenny McPeek. The Grade 1, $1.5 million Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. He sent out the 4-1 favorite in the race, Torpedo Anna, for a wire-to-wire, 4 3/4 length victory over a sloppy racetrack. It was McPeek's first Oaks win after 3 seconds, also the first for his jockey, Brian Hernandez Jr. Now, Saturday, that same pair teamed up with the 18-1 long shot, Mystik Dan, to win the Roses, the 150th Kentucky Derby. And this past Monday morning, from his office in Barn 6 at Churchill Downs, I had a chance to catch up with Kenny McPeek, talk to him about a fabulous big weekend for him. Way to go, Kenny.
For sure. You know, I feel like I'm walking through some sort of life dream here, and don't really want to wake up. You know, there's a lot of people that it took to get us here, and we're, you know, just really humbled by it all.
What a race. Mystik Dan, a 3-way photo, closest finish in 150 years of the Derby. Take us through the race, Kenny. What'd you see?
Well, I thought it was a brilliant ride by Brian Hernandez. I mean, Brian was the difference in winning and losing. I mean, I do think the post position draw when we drew inside was all the difference too. But the fact that he found the rail trip, and you know, this horse was fast enough to get him there, of course. But we popped him out of the gate on Wednesday because I wanted him to make sure he didn't leave there flat-footed. I mean, you leave flat-footed in the Derby and your race is lost, and you need to let him run to the first turn. But he was able to tuck in and get position, save every inch of ground, and you know, he looked like he needed about every inch of ground.
I tell you, that was some kind of bold move that young jockey made for you on the rail. Said he even scraped his boots on the rail.
Well, look, you know, there's something about Louisiana jockeys.
Yeah,
I mean, there really is. There's something about them. I mean, I could go back for decades and give you. I mean, you know a lot of them. Eddie Delahousse.
Sure.
I mean, he rode for Whittingham. You know, Alvarado's done a great job for me. Kent DeSormo, Shane Sellers, Calvin Burrell. I mean, I know I'm missing a lot of them, but I don't know what it is about those jockeys. It may be in the water in Louisiana or the food or something like that, but they know how to how to horseback.
18-1, Mystik Dan went off in the race. And how'd you handicap before? What did you think was your biggest competition? What was your strategy going into the run for the Roses?
Well, I felt like Sierra Leone was definitely a horse that we need to concern ourselves with, but he was going to be behind us. And Catching Freedom was another horse that I had watched train that I was impressed by. And there were a few others. The Japanese horse I watched train a lot, but I didn't know how to handicap him in because he had been running in some racetracks that I wasn't familiar with, or certainly the Dubai races we didn't know how they'd hold up. But look, I tend not to worry about other people's horses so much as mine. And my team here. I'm here with Greg Geyer in my office here at Churchill. Greg's over here marking the board. Say hi, Greg.
Hey, Greg. Good to see you again.
Yeah, he's in here handling all the nuts and bolts of the operation. I'm more the helicopter viewed. Some say the brains, but I'm not sure. My wife, my brains of the outfit. Actually, Sonny, my dog, he's the brains of the outfit. He's right here, Sonny.
That gold lab. Hey, buddy. Kenny,
So,
18-1 is nothing for you. I remember covering you, buddy, in 2002, and you shocked the world with Serrano at 70-1 in the Belmont Stakes.
Yeah. No, that was a fun weekend. Very pleasant surprise that horse was.
Big race there. Let's talk about some other activities for you. How many in your stable now, Kenny? And what are your plans, of course, for the Preakness Stakes as we record this on Monday morning?
A little too early to plan on Preakness. I mean, we're going to send him back to the track on Wednesday. We'll let him tell us. I mean, an old sage told me one time, never make a decision till you absolutely positively have to. And that's entries aren't until Monday. But we've got a lovely horse, and we don't want to do anything that compromises his racing for later in the season. And we certainly want to be part of the conversation later in the year, as opposed to forcing him back in. But he ate up last night, and so that's a good sign.
Okay, give us a bit of your background. I've covered you for many years, of course, and but you were really kind of raised around horse Lexington, Kentucky, right?
Yeah, I'm probably fortunate. A nice alignment of the stars. My grandmother lived on Versailles Road when I was a young boy, which is directly in town from Keeneland. My grandfather used to love going to the races. They would argue over who I went to church with. On my dad's side of the family wanted me to go to church with grandmother, and then my grandparents on my mom's side of the family wanted me to go to church with them. And so a good compromise turned out to be that Granny would bring ponies to the house on Versailles Road after church, and so I chose to go to church with Granny because she had the ponies after church. And then Pop, my grandfather, was an executive with R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company back in the 1930s and 40s. And he said, well, if you're not going to go to church with us, would you want to go to the races with me on Saturday? So I would go to Keeneland racing on Saturdays when they were open, and then I would go to church on Sundays with my grandmother. So, what kid wouldn't get involved in horses after that kind of deal, right?
Well, you also, before you get your license, you got a degree, right? University of Kentucky.
Yeah, my mother was a bit of a taskmaster. She said, son, you will go to college and you will graduate. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so Mom expected that, and you know what, she was right. And I went off to school, and I've got a degree in finance and accounting, of all things. I was a classic C+ B- student. But look, I graduated, and the degree was practically worthless out of school because, as some of us out there remember, 1984 interest rates were 18%. There wasn't a lot of business was difficult. My father's business was struggling financially, and he had owned a few horses with some other people. And one day, not directly after I graduated, but about 6-8 months afterwards, he asked me to help him come take care of some horses until he could figure out how to sell them. And I helped him out for the first week. He'd meet me there, and the second week he'd be late, and the third week he didn't show up at all. And the next thing you know, I was the groom, the hot walker, not the exercise rider. Even then, I'd been too big. But I started loving it, and I really didn't have any intentions on getting a trainer's license. At one point, my dad said, well, he was going to get his license, and I was like, okay, fine. And then when the license, the date to go get the test, he decided that he wasn't ready for it. He thought that he needed to wait. And I said, well, if you're not going to go, I'm going to go because I'm doing all the work anyway. And so I took the test and got it, no problem. And I won 10 out of my first 50 starters, and outside people started calling and saying, hey, will you take a horse for me? And we take a horse for me. Next thing you know, I looked up and I was up to about 10. And then Tejano Run surfaced. That was almost 10 years after I started the Tejano Run. I picked him out at auction. Of course, that today is my forte, is buying horses at auction.
I was going to say, I can remember some of the early ones you had, the Tohono run I've covered with you before, and then the Sarava, of course, the Belmont. That was the year we voted you the Big Sport of Churchill Award winner, which for us in the media means the guy who helped us the most, did the most to support and promote thoroughbred racing. You've always done a great job with that, Kenny.
Well, you all got you've got to get the content out there and tell people the stories. And, look, it's not easy sometimes keeping up and trying to sort out and getting everybody, a little bit of time. But I feel like I'm an ambassador. I think it's my responsibility to deliver the message and for people to understand so they know more about the game. And when I was younger, I probably wasn't as good at it. But, at this stage, spent a lot of time. And my mother would always critique all my interviews too, by the way.
Well, Kenny, what do you think the impact will be? I remember talking to the late, great Charlie Whittingham, who said he wasn't even a horse trader. Somebody asked him, have you ever won the Kentucky Derby? And he said it made a real difference when he said, I am a Kentucky Derby winning trainer. Now so are you.
Wow. Whittingham would have been one of my idols if I'd known him. I didn't really know him. I've always envisioned that I would do it. I never had any doubt that I could do it. I didn't know, how or when, but you have to let these things happen. You can't force them. And there is a higher power. There's a much higher power that takes charge of that. And my job was to take good care of the horses and the clients and let the rest fall in place. And yes, it's an honor to be spoken of in those terms.
Kenny McPeek, the double and the Oaks with Torpedo Anna, and then of course the Kentucky Derby, 18-1 on Mystik Dan, and now waiting on him to decide about the Preakness Stakes. But thanks for taking the time. I'm sure you've been just overwhelmed with all the media people and your friends and fans, and I appreciate Kenny, a long-time friendship, and I was thrilled to see you in the winner's circle with the Roses.
My pleasure, Chris.
Congratulations again, Kenny. What a weekend. Coming up next, Kenny Gajewski, the softball coach of the Oklahoma State Cowgirls. What a weekend he had, too. We'll talk about his battle with the Sooners in Bedlam right after this.
Are you ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers? Saturday night, June 1st, 7:05 at the BOK Center is Military Night. Let's rally behind the team as they take on the San Diego Strike Force. The first 1,000 fans get a Tulsa Oilers t-shirt. That's right, a Tulsa Oilers t-shirt. Don't miss the action. Tickets are on sale now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
Around the clock, throughout eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family-owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories at our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
You've seen the billboards, you've heard the hype, and now it's time for the Wee Street Ice Center to open its doors and welcome you in. 140,000 square feet, 2 ice rinks, public skating, hockey, arcade, game simulators, and the largest sports bar and grill is sliding into Tulsa. It's the grand opening of the new Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale. Make your plans, get your skate on, or watch some sports today. The Wee Street Ice Center, now open and ready to serve you. Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale.
Well, this past weekend at Love Field in Norman, Oklahoma, it was the final Big 12 Bedlam series between the Oklahoma State Cowgirls and the Oklahoma Sooners. Of course, OU heading now to the SEC Conference after July. This is a matchup of two of the nation's top softball teams. Sooners came in ranked number 2, and the Cowgirls came in ranked number 4. And the Cowgirls made the most of their winning the first two games, 6-3 and 6-2 at Love Field. Now, it marked the first home loss for OU in 18 years. And how about this? It was OSU's first win in Norman in 31 years. Now, OU would bounce back to win the Sunday game 8-2 to avoid being swept for the first time ever in a home series. But the losses ended the Sooners' streak of Big 12 championship games at 11 straight. Take a look at the final standings for the regular season. Texas Longhorns win the title with a third 23-4 conference record, followed by OU, one back 22-5, and one more back, OSU at 21-6. Big 12 softball tournament underway this week in Oklahoma City, Thursday, May 9th through Saturday, May 11th at the USA Softball Complex in the city. Monday afternoon, we caught up with the Oklahoma State softball coach, Kenny Gajewski, and asked him about winning 2 out of 3 from the Sooners on their home field.
Yeah, it was a great weekend just to be able to go into their home on the last Bedlam weekend that we'll ever have, and to play the way that we played is just really good. Really a good moment for our kids to understand that they are really good and they can go on to any stage and play their best.
Kenny, what has been the difference with this Cowgirls team?
I mean, it's a fresh new team, a lot of young kids that don't have the battle wounds, maybe of some other teams that just kind of, this is just part of it, but a lot of kids that just don't really care about anything other than this program, and trying to help them understand that, hey, they just need to be the best versions of them. And this team is just taken off. It's been really fun to be a part of and to watch them grow, especially these young guys.
Coach, you had such great success since you came to the Cowboys in Oklahoma State in 2016 as the head coach. And again, you've done a great job, especially in that Portland. You got some really good players over there.
Yeah, I mean, there's good players all over, and it's really important that we, we're involved in all aspects of the transfer portal, the recruiting as a whole. I mean, you have to continue to to work, and where we may not always be an attractive place for young kids until they get a little bit older and really understand what they really want in life. They can sometimes get caught up in things that they don't necessarily need to be caught up in. We don't have a lot of glamour here at OSU, but what we have is a very stable place, very stable program, and I think we're showing that we can win with anyone.
I'd say so. Just looking at some of your record here, Coach, unbelievable. Since 21-23, 143 wins, fourth nationally, only behind Oklahoma, Florida State, and UCLA. Pretty good company there, and you really established a real culture there at Oklahoma State, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked hard at this. We're getting ready to start our 10th year. So this is our 9th year, and it's been a lot of hard work, and it feels really good, but still a lot of work to be done. And we won't stop ever here. I mean, that's the name of our game here, is just keep getting better and just continuing to find a way to make that happen.
Coach, who are some of the key players that really made this Cowgirls team so special this year?
Well, I think it starts in the circle with Lexi Kilfoyle and Ivy Rosenberry. Both of them have just been dominant. Lexi should be the Big 12 pitcher of the year. She's just been absolutely outstanding. And then Ivy has just been a very pleasant surprise. She's I think she's the second best pitcher in the conference, numbers wise. So she's been outstanding. And then you look at our lineup led by Caroline Wong, Carly Godwin, Rose Davis, Jillian Pouillard. I can just go up and down there, but those are some of the keys to this group. And it's just been, we've done it in so many ways, and so many people have really contributed to making this a special year.
With Kenny Gajewski, the women's softball coach at Oklahoma State University. And Coach, you said that the OU program is the gold standard. It must have been a lot to get that first win for the Cowgirls there in Norman the other week.
Yeah, I mean, they are the standard. They're 3-time back-to-back champions, trying to go for a fourth, which has never been done. So to go into their home stadium, which is brand new, very intimidating in front of 5,000 fans, it's real. And for our kids to go in there and really beat them up the first 2 games was really cool. Third game got away from us. Credit them for doing that as well. But that's what this is all about, and just an amazing opportunity for our team.
You have a Sooner background too, Coach. You were part of that championship 1994 Oklahoma baseball team at OU.
Yeah, I've got a lot of history there. Haven't been there in a lot of years, but obviously I played there and graduated there, so had some great memories. They don't like that anymore that I'm here, and that's okay. They don't treat me very well. I get it. It's fine. It is what it is, but I'm proud to be here at OSU, and the one thing they can't take away is that I've got some great friends there and some great memories and a nice championship.
Now you look ahead to the Big 12 championship this week in Oklahoma City, and how do you kind of handicap that field for us?
Oh, I mean, it's a good field. You better show up and play. You can get beat by anyone. So obviously Texas is the number 1 seed, Oklahoma 2 and us 3. So I think we're probably the top 3 teams in the country as well in the rankings. So it's really cool. It's going to be a grind. It looks like the weather is going to hold out and be nice. And for people that live around here, it'd be a great event to get out there and watch.
Well, Coach Kenny Gajewski, again, congrats on the regular season. Great season so far. But also, you've set a pretty good challenge. I've noticed you've been to the World Series now, 2019, 2021, 22, 23. So let's make it 24. All the best to the college. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Straight ahead, Oilers star running back Jared Ware Jr. joins us here on the set to talk Oilers football.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Are you ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers? Saturday night, June 1st, 7:05 at the BOK Center is Military Night. Let's rally behind the team as they take on the San Diego Strike Force. The first 1,000 fans get a Tulsa Oilers t-shirt. That's right, a Tulsa Oilers t-shirt. Don't miss the action. Tickets are on sale now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
Tulsa Bone and Joint, Northeast Oklahoma's sports medicine experts. We are pleased to help you and the athletes in your life with a number of surgical and non-surgical options. Tulsa Bone and Joint is proud to serve as team orthopedist for local high schools such as Broken Arrow, Owasso, Sapulpa, Cascia Hall, and Bishop Kelly. We're also proud to be team orthopedist for FC Tulsa. Tulsa Bone and Joint, moving life forward.
It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
The 2024 Remington Park Spring Quarter Horse season continues at Remington Park. The top horses in quarter horse racing are featured on Champions Night at Remington Park. Saturday, June 1st is also the final night of the spring season with 7 Grade 1 stakes events led by the $1 Million Heritage Place Futurity. Thursday through Sunday, first race at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m. Champions Night racing on June 1st will begin at 5 p.m. The best racing, simulcast racing, and jackpot casino action is all at Remington Park.
And welcome back to Oklahoma Sportscene. We're joined now by one of the newest of our Tulsa Oilers football players, their star running back, number 9, Jared Ware Jr. Jared, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Give us a bit of your background now before you joined the Oilers. What were you doing here?
Before the Oilers, I was with the Northern Arizona Wranglers. I played running back there.
They were in the championship, weren't they?
Yep, they were in the championship 2 years ago, actually. And so I came the year after that. We ended up making it to the semifinals last year. Had a pretty good season, had a good time there. I ended up I played the first game at Northern Arizona this year as well before I was then released and ended up here in Tulsa.
Well, some of your stats for Northern Arizona, so that running back, 388 yards on 82 attempts last season for the Wranglers, 8 rushing touchdowns, 6 receiving touchdowns. You got a lot of versatility in your game, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, I put a big emphasis on being versatile and making sure that I have different ways that I can contribute to the game. You know, I feel that it makes it hard on the defense to have to game plan for me when I can go out and run receiver routes or I'm running between the tackles. It's one thing that I feel is a big bonus about me is that I can do both, and I stress it.
Played your college football up north. Talk about your college days. University of Wisconsin-Whitewater.
Yeah, Wisconsin-Whitewater, D3 powerhouse. Lots of champions, lots of winning tradition there, and that was one of the big reasons I did go there because of the winning tradition. The years before I started there in 2015, so the 2013, 2014 they actually won the championship, and we're on a back-to-back championship, and we're going for the three-peat my freshman year there.
Well, you had also, he was an All-American, All-Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletics selection, by the way. Racked up 170 rushing yards, 13 rushing touchdowns, averaged 5.2 yards a carry, and 42 receptions. That's 482 yards more in receiving touchdowns. So again, a lot of versatility in your game.
Absolutely.
All right, you show that versatility also with the Oilers the other night, toasting Jacksonville. The result, not quite what we wanted there, as they came out about in the fourth quarter, and Oilers ended up losing the game 47-44. But you were a big part of that game. Talk about it with 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. Take us to your game there.
Yes, sir. It was just a good game plan with our offense. We decided to run the ball a lot more than we had the previous games. And felt that it was a good game plan going against Jacksonville. And it worked pretty well throughout the game. You know, we ran the ball very well. Our offensive line is so good with Baldy and Pat and Bivens in there. Like they work hard and they want to run the ball. You know, they advocate to the coach that they would love to run the ball. And we have great receivers, so it's easy for us to pass the ball. But now that we have a running game going, I feel like it's made it a lot more difficult for defense coordinators to game plan against us.
You also have a running quarterback on your side, too.
Oh, yeah. So we can really hit you from different angles and different athletes. We got really anybody in our offense can make big plays and are about playmaking. So it's just the game plan. As long as we stick to the game plan and do our job, all 8 on the field do our job, you know, we should be pretty successful.
Oilers are 3-3 right now in the season. Much improved over our inaugural season, thanks to guys like our man here, Jared here. But I want to let you talk about a tough road trip series coming up. We have 3 straight games on the road. You guys go to Green Bay, San Antonio, and outside Boston. They're gone the rest of the month of May.
Yeah, that'll be a tough road. But it just comes down to being focused. You know, we're here for a reason, and that's to play our best games, and we want to be a playoff team this year. You know, I know a lot of people count us out, but we got the pieces to do it for sure.
And Jared, of course, what you're looking for is eyes on you by those up a little higher than this. I'm sure you got higher goals, aspirations, and maybe someday NFL even, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Since I was 4 years old, I knew I wanted to play in the NFL. So it's been a grind for 23 years now. And, you know, I'm just blessed to be in this situation. I have an opportunity with the Tulsa Oilers. And, you know, like you said, it's going to be a tough few road games, but it's going to come down to staying focused and remembering why we're here. We want to get to the bigger leagues. We want to showcase our talent. We feel that we've been overlooked in our field, a professional field. So we want to go out there and put our best foot forward.
Next home game, by the way, next month, June the 1st, they'll be here to take on San Diego Strike Force at the BOK Center there. Get your thoughts on Tulsa. What do you think of Tulsa, and what about that BOK Center?
Tulsa is. So coming in, I had no idea that Tulsa was this big of a city. I didn't know too much about Tulsa coming in, but it's been very cool to see and explore different areas. I'm from Fort Myers, Florida, so the southern feel is more like home to me out here, rather than in Arizona where I'm not too familiar. But it's big, so I still got a lot more to see. You know, I've only been here almost about a month, so I still got a lot more to see, but I love it. You know, the BOK Center is something I've never experienced before. Have that first game that I played in was Frisco, having the 13,000. That was something incredible. You know, we can rack up about 15,000 at Wisconsin Whitewater, but it's a different feel when it's outdoor to indoor and you got like the crowd right over you, and it's an amazing energy. I love to play in it. You know, it fuels me, it fires me up to play better, and I'm excited for more games to come.
We're talking with Jared Ware Jr., who is the running back for the Tulsa Oilers, number 9 for you folks there. And your thoughts on Marvin Jones, your head coach?
Love him. Great guy. He's a very laid-back, chill guy, funny guy, just always keeping the mood light. And it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be under him and be able to be taught by someone with so much experience.
How different is the outdoor to the indoor game now, and how have you had to adjust your game?
It's different. You know, it's a 50-yard field,
Wow.
so a lot of decisions will have to be made quick. When it's as far as running back, when it comes to the certain holes, you only got really two holes you're choosing from. You got an A gap and a backside A gap. So it does come a lot quicker when it comes to deciding where you're gonna run the ball, and you gotta make it now. You don't really have time as far as like outdoor. You got a lot of more space when you catch the ball to make things happen. But here you kind of got to make your decisions quick and stick to them.
Jared Ware Jr., he is a running back for the Oilers, number 9. You got there and cheer for him. He gets back in town June the 1st. Jared, safe travels, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you
All
so
the
much
best
for having me. I appreciate it.
Come right back with our Remington Race Report right after the break.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
It's time. Time to get back to the basics. Time to meet up with family and friends. Time to play ball. It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
I'm Dale Day from Remington Park. You're catching the Remington Report here on Oklahoma Sportscene.
Are you ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers? Saturday night, June 1st, 7:05 at the BOK Center is Military Night. Let's rally behind the team as they take on the San Diego Strike Force. The first 1,000 fans get a Tulsa Oilers t-shirt. That's right, a Tulsa Oilers t-shirt. Don't miss the action. Tickets are on sale now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
Remington Park featured many of the top older American quarter horses in stakes action on Saturday, May 4th. Of course, the big day also featured the simulcast of the Kentucky Derby before we got to the stakes action on the track. As always, Derby Day means big cash prizes for those involved in the hat and tie style contest, and thousands were ready for big racing on the track and the run for the Roses. The long-distance runners had their chance on the big card on Saturday around the turn in the Pauls Valley, a grade 2 at 870 yards. Cool Man Kenny was a scratch, so a field of 7 went to the gate. They're off in the Pauls Valley Stakes. Quick start. O'Donovan Rosa came away sharply there by a neck early on. Toward the outside, I'm No Lawyer, but moving on along with Volcom's favorite. Dax shuffled a bit back as they go to the turn. 4th early on, that's Day Cruiser. Then going wide, Baker's Big Ol' Boy. Trailing last, about 8 from the front, is Catch This Eagle. Mid-turn, wide, Volcom's favorite is on the lead by a neck over I'm No Lawyer, but fighting with O'Donovan Rosa, who gets shut off at the rail. O'Donovan Rosa was trying to come through. They have to try one more time as they straighten away in the Pauls Valley. It's Volcom's favorite from the outside. Here comes O'Donovan Rosa charging on now, and outside wide, Day Cruiser making a bid. It's Day Cruiser threatening late, but O'Donovan Rosa, despite trouble coming off the turn, is going to prevail here. O'Donovan Rosa will get it done, going away to win it by almost 3. Number 2, O'Donovan Rosa, much the best, had trouble coming off the turn, had to check back and wait through traffic, and came on once again under jockey Roman Cruz for an emphatic score as the wagering favorite, paying $4.60 for the win. O'Donovan Rosa, owned by Kelly Yother Equine, Culver City, California. D. Keener, the trainer. Roman Cruz, the winning jockey. For O'Donovan Rosa, bred in Oklahoma by Garvin Kelly. Day Cruiser, a bit of a long shot, was second. Third, number 8, Volcom's favorite. And fourth, the 4, Catch the Seagull. O'Donovan Rosa picking up win number 12 on the career, with 8 of those now around the turn. O'Donovan Rosa pointed next to the big Remington Park Distance Championship on June 1st. Top older horses were on the track at 400 yards in the Grade 1 Leo Stakes. They're off in the Leo Stakes. Great start at Trace of Eagle away sharply right there. Sir James, Conning Cartel came away brilliantly as well. Now, Nothing Like You tries to get into it farther out the swamp. It's Conning Cartel in the swamp. The Trace of Eagle's backed up a bit outside the swamp, grabs the lead. It's the swamp on top. Conning Cartel, one more push. The swamp up by a half length will win the Leo by 3/4. Upset in the Leo from the outside the swamp scores. The swamp, owned by Chavez Concrete of Amarillo, Texas, trained by Diego Arroyo. Gonzalo Gutierrez, the winning ride. Those connections winning the Leo Stakes for the very first time ever. The Swamp winning for the 7th time in his career. The 5-year-old horse upsets the field, knocking off a couple of big favorites. The Swamp wins the Leo, $28.40 for the win. Second was the 3, Conning Cartel. And third, the beaten favorite, number 1, A Trace of Eagle. These horses will probably show up again June 1st, Champions Night at Remington Park in the Debbie Schaaf Remington Park Championship. Normal racing times this week, 6 p.m. nightly, Sunday afternoon racing at 4 p.m. Remember, the second jewel of thoroughbred racing's Triple Crown, the Preakness Stakes, takes place on Saturday, May 18th. Remington Park racing will begin at noon on May 18th. Of course, the Preakness Stakes will come along at approximately 5:30 p.m. In Oklahoma City at Remington Park, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sports Scene.
Right after the break, let's some local notes and also take you back one more time to the Kentucky Derby, one of our award-winning ESPN musical features, straight ahead.
Indoor football is back, Tulsa, and season tickets are going quick. Don't miss Saturday night entertainment starting as low as $9 a month. The Tulsa Oilers indoor football team kicks off again in March, Saturday nights, 7 p.m. BOK Center. Season tickets are on sale now. Go to TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Get your season tickets now. Don't miss your chance to experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of professional indoor football. TulsaOilersFootball.com.
The Remington Park Casino is always open for jackpot gaming. The winning action never ends. Enjoy great food and drinks in the Bricktown Brewery, open daily at 11 a.m. Simulcast racing is offered every day, featuring North America's best tracks. Visit the Club Remington desk for player card membership and begin earning points and rewards. The jackpots are always flowing. The next one could be yours at Remington Park.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's formal wear and fine clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories at our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's formal wear and fine clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
It's time. Time to get back to the basics. Time to meet up with family and friends. Time to play ball. It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
A final note from this year's Kentucky Derby. Our locally owned horse, Track Phantom, owned by the Levinsons and also Clark Booster. The horse ran well, set the pace, as expected, got a couple calls in the race, but the 1.25 miles faded at the end. We ended up with Track Phantom finishing 12th, beating about 18 lengths, but still, he was in the Kentucky Derby. Good news for Bedlam softball fans. 2 schools have talked about renewing it next year. There'll be one game played in Oklahoma City. Date has not been decided yet, but there will be Bedlam 25, Oklahoma State girls softball. Looking forward to that. And following up on my guaranteed winner for the Kentucky Derby. Remember the theory there was you take a $2 win bet on each one of the horses. For the Derby, that's a 20-horse field, a $40 investment. But you always remember that what you always can tell people, no matter what the price is, I had the winner of the Kentucky Derby. This year, of course, it ended up being a horse that paid $39.22 in Mystik Dan. That means you would have only lost 78 cents. But again, you picked the winner of the Kentucky Derby. Remember that theory there. And now a special treat for you at the very end of the show. We have one more of our Kentucky Derby award-winning music pieces on ESPN. Let's show it to you now. Enjoy.
To the heroes, those few who dare, heading for glory, leaving a prayer. Here's to the heroes change our lives. Thanks to the heroes, freedom survives. Here's to the heroes who never rest. They are the toilers on, we are the best. Here's to the heroes who reach so high. Here's to the heroes who do or Here's to the heroes who aim so high. Here's to the heroes who do or die. Here's to the
Join us next week. It's the second of golf's majors, the PGA Championships. We may have a local golfer in it, too. We'll talk about that next week. Till then, remind you, as always, be a good sport.